This is public access, the playtest of the Skinny Jeans edition of the game, part 5. We are in the middle of a day phase. I'm thinking we're going to have like just a couple more scenes for each character in this day phase, and then we'll start transitioning into the dawn, or the dusk rather. And so we're going to pick up straight away with Katie. Katie, when we last saw you, you and Silas had found Linnea's sweater on the edge of this historical town well, and I owe you a clue from that. And that clue is actually not the sweater. The clue is it's kind of connected to the sweater. This historical well has a bunch of flowers planted around it, which they have gone to great care to make sure they live, even though it's in the middle of the desert. And except right underneath this sweater, the flowers are all wilted and dead. So it's just like a patch of like wilted dead flowers by the sweater. But the other thing that's happening is connected to the Deep Lake Lurker, although Katie's not aware of it yet. As you're looking down into the well, Katie, what we see on screen is little dozens of rivulets of water are worming their way up the stone shaft of the well. And you might feel it as they touch your skin, but maybe you just think it's like weird condensation or something. I don't know. But the water is sort of sliding up your finger, sliding up I assume you're not wearing a jacket because it's presumably pretty warm. So the water is just sort of like coming up, and you might even start to become aware of it, like gliding up your forearm and dribbling down to your tennis shoes. And we're going to do the day move here. I am curious what you're afraid is going to happen right now if you fail to get away, or just what do you do? I mean, when you see it.
I think my initial reaction is to shake my arms off to try and get rid of the water. My fear is that I'm going to fall into the well.
Yeah, I think that's a fair fear. Um, this is definitely going to be the day move. What are you afraid is going to happen right now? Or you already told me that. I think it's going to be sensitivity, actually. And
Ooh.
so, and because you have the next victim, you are going to be at disadvantage as well.
Oh, goodness.
So that's a bad roll for you. Do you have something from your your corner of the house that can help you?
Um, yes, I do. My sectionals trophy from my cheerleading crew that I coach, we won bronze, which wasn't very good. It was just in sectionals, but still, we won bronze, and I'm very proud of it. The trophy is quite small, but I think back on it, and I think there's a glint off the well that sort of has a bronzish
Oh, a
look,
coppery
and it
bronzy
just
look. Yeah.
reminds me of this trophy, which reminds me of the final move in our cheerleading routine, which involves a off the ground backflip that I had to teach
Mhm.
the cheerleaders. So I think what I'm gonna do is my initial thought to get away from the well is I know I can get the distance if I do a backflip.
This is one of the most incredible uses of a personal quarters item or a corner of the house item. I love it. You are at regular dice now. Still -1 for sensitivity though.
Better than disadvantage. That's an 8.
Nice. I have to tell you the day move. I think I always do the day move wrong. I'm going to do it the correct way today. I have to tell you how your actions would leave you vulnerable, and you can choose to back down or go through with it. Basically, I think what's going to happen is you are going to backflip into Silas's arms.
Uh, well, maybe I'll learn that he's a really good cheerleader and I should have him try out for my team. Sure.
You just sort of like you see this water. Maybe you don't know what to think of it yet. Who knows? But you see the glint of this sort of coppery glint that reminds you of your statue. You just on instinct, you just flip back, and you land. Silas is just a few steps behind you. You land, and Silas like kind of you don't land perfect, which is probably why you got bronze in the sectionals. And you hop
Oh,
back, and Silas like kind of catches you. He's like, "Hey, are you okay?"
the the water, the water was.
That was
Oh,
incredible. You just like did a backflip. It was like watching a cat get startled by a spider or something. Like that was amazing.
yeah, I know. I'm amazing. It's all that cheerleading, but the
He's like
water
still holding
is
you.
alive, I think.
He's like, okay. Uh, Listen, I have to deal with a lot of crazy in my life as a general rule, and I don't know. I was starting to think that you were kind of a cool chick, and I think it would be great if you also don't go crazy.
Put me down.
I'm not picking you here. He's just like, let's go. You're just, he's like, okay, yeah, fine, yeah.
I think I don't land very gracefully, and I think that just makes me a little bit angrier.
He says, you uh, don't take this the wrong way, but you like your hair smells really good.
I am absolutely taking that the wrong. In what way is that the right way? What right way is there? But no, this is not.
It's
That's
just a
not the point right
compliment. Your
now.
hair smells good. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, you don't compliment girls that way. Okay, first off, you don't do that. Don't do that. Second off, this well, is it like haunted or something?
He like picks up Linnea's sweater and is like, let's just get to the ranch. And he goes on. Just kind of a little deflated.
I think I resist the urge to look back down the well, but it's very tempting. It's one of those
Hmm.
call of the void things.
How are you feeling right now?
I'm a little bit creeped out by Silas. I'm
Hmm.
irritated that I didn't land my backflip. And I'm scared of the haunted water.
I'm going to give you a condition out of sorts. Uh,
That sounds reasonable.
you're presently out of sorts. Michael, I don't think there's anything else to do with the at the home of the last session. I kept bouncing between March and Marsh, and I cannot remember what is their actual last name.
It's March.
March. I I
Uh-huh.
I don't think there's anything else to learn at the March's house. You got a very good clue there.
Yeah.
I will point out that you do have the Wandering Monolith
Hmm.
now, which you did not have before, which
Yeah.
lets you seek out the big man. That might be something you could do for the rest of your phase, but
Hmm.
so just want to remind you of that. But
Yeah.
what do you want to do?
Well, first of all, I do have a move that triggers at the beginning of each session. The truth is out there.
Hmm.
And I think as I'm leaving the march home, I think I see sort of taped onto like the mailbox, which
Oh,
is
nice.
just
Yeah.
very weird,
Yeah.
is a letter um on like the envelope. It says something that you might find interesting, Michael. Uh but specifically, the letter is an unsent letter to Michael, noting a meetup at Galaxy Arcade back in 1985.
Wait, it was sent to you?
It wasn't meant to be sent to me, but it never got sent.
Oh my goodness. And how you would have been like what? Like pretty young,
Yeah,
right?
I would
Like
have been like 9, 10 or so.
yeah, if even that, probably like even a
Hmm.
little younger. Um, Intriguing. That's an interesting clue, and you have it. Where do you go once you find that, or what do you do?
I think I think I gotta go to Galaxia Arcade because like this clue's just been handed to me. Like it's not something that should exist. It's something sort of a more temporal. So like I have a feeling that because I do have the modern wandering monolith that the big man is trying to get my attention.
Maybe,
Maybe,
maybe.
maybe not. Who
We'll
knows?
see. I like that though. I think that's good. Let me think. I think it's so interesting because the March Home has ended up being this like weird nexus point for communications from the past and the future, which is
Hmm.
really intriguing to me. I don't know what it means, but just more deep like weirdness, I suppose. I think when you get to Galaxia Arcade, I think the hype around Zagreus has like died down at this point. Like the line,
Because yeah, Zagreus is a bad
it's a
game.
bad game, and like and I think and like there might still be like some of the people who came into town to play it who are still kind of like hanging around playing, you know, playing Mrs. Snackman or the Serpents and Sepulchres game or whatever. But but the but the hype has kind of died down. FG looks a little deflated. I think he's kind of like a little deflated that it's not ended up being the huge like windfall that he hoped it would be. And yeah, and I think he kind of sees you and he says, "You okay, kid?" As you come in.
Uh, yeah, I'm doing all right. How's that sort of a business been with Zagreus? It seems as though folks are
It's
not.
it's died down a little bit, I guess. Hey, you look a little you look a little I don't know, like a little startled or something. You want a slice of pizza? I've got a slice of cheese pizza. It's only been under the lamp for like about an hour. So,
Sure, I could always go for some pizza.
mhm. Now, the rule in life, as a general matter, is there's no such thing as bad pizza. But I have to say, FG's cheese pizza that's been sitting under the lamp for an hour in this disgusting arcade is getting awfully close to the threshold of the reliability of that rule.
I mean,
Nevertheless,
it hasn't like landed upside down on the floor. Like,
exactly, yeah, okay. Um, are you like visibly looking for the big man as you like eat your pizza?
yeah, just like looking out of like the corner of my eye because I just assumed that people are following me. Like,
Hmm.
because like when I went into the March household, the letter was not there, but when I came out, it was there.
FG comes up to you and he says, "Are you looking for somebody?"
I just received a little note about something going on here. It was like an old thing, and I may have missed it. So,
He says, "Oh, um, well, this fella who hangs out here sometimes, he told me that someone might come here looking for him. And I thought maybe he was talking about you.
mhm,
Um, he said he was going into the desert. I don't know what that means.
of course, I know what that means. Thank you, FG.
Let's check in with Steve Knudsen, who at this point, Steve, I'd like to go ahead and just put you down into the tunnels
Yeah,
beneath.
I bring my own theme music with me. Da-da-da, bum, da-da.
um, we know from your past that you have an issue with confined spaces, and you are turning over a new leaf that sees you grabbing hold of adversity and strangling the living shit out of it. And so you're down here, which I love. I love that for you. But it is nevertheless like quite dark and quite confusing. And I assume you have some sort of mag light or something with you.
Yeah, definitely brought a flashlight with me.
Yeah. And so I think this is going to be just going to be kind of the night move to sort of look around the space, navigate the space, just kind of get your bearings, I think, first. But I do want to know, and it's the night move because you're in a dark subterranean place. What are you afraid is going to happen if you get lost down here or if you fail?
I think I think I'm afraid of running into some unsavory sorts, as Steve would say, like
Hmm.
like vagrants, druggies step on an errant needle. He's quite
That's such a
nervous
thing for
about
Steve
that.
to be worried
Yeah.
about. Yeah, that's good. Um,
That's how they tell you that you get the diseases,
yeah,
it's
stepping on used needles. Um, oh, I'll tell you what, Steve will love. I feel like Steve is really, really going to love like 2024 and the sort of like anti-California, you know, like
Well,
right
to
wing.
tell you how I
Yeah.
wrote him for pizza time.
Yeah.
Yes.
I kind of feel like Steve is going to really, really love 2024. So many of his beliefs are going to be validated in the best possible way. Okay, so fantastic. I think it's worse than that.
Mhm.
You are going to be attacked by Attafoy 85.
Ooh,
So if you
yeah.
wish to continue with this, pick up dice. Uh, I think this is going to be composure, and I think because of haunted, I've got to put you at disadvantage.
I'm not haunted. That's
Oh,
Michael.
that's Michael. What are you?
Michael,
Where are you? Oh, you're feeling good. Oh, you're okay. So you're okay.
I'm
Yeah.
actually thinking of like Markin feeling good to take advantage on it because I'm doing this because of Katie's pep talk.
I
You know,
love it.
like,
I love it.
yeah, like clear it for advantage.
Burn it. Get advantage +2 as well. So it's a good roll.
Yeah, very good roll. Steve
you
is
do.
taking charge of his destiny. Let's see what we get. Oh wow, that's still bad, but it's an 8.
Okay. You're keeping it together. You're looking around. You've got your flashlight, and these tunnels, they're pretty extensive for one thing. They seem to go pretty far in lots of different directions. It's not immediately clear what they were used for because you'll see things like, you know, like fuse boxes that, you know, control the lights or whatever, but they're not plugged in. They're not connected to anything. Or you'll see like like pipes that look like they were meant to be like plumbing, but they're not connected to anything. They're just like open. So it's like these were utility tunnels that were meant to be used for some purpose, but that purpose never came, or or maybe the tunnels were not really utility tunnels. It's just a thing that you're meant to look like it. But here's the interesting bit. You start to notice in different places little smears of yellow paint. So as you're moving around, you might see a little smear of yellow paint that highlights a ledge you can climb up onto. A ledge you can climb up onto. And then that leads you to another section of tunnel that you hadn't seen before. And then at some point, there start to be yellow arrows painted on the wall, giving you actual directions of something to something. Do you follow the yellow marks?
It's if video games have taught me anything, it's you gotta.
You gotta follow the yellow marks. You're following these yellow marks. I guess I'm curious how you feel about like someone is clearly leading, maybe not you specifically, but they're leading someone to something. What are your thoughts right now?
Well, you know what they say, you know, if it's it could be could maybe there is credence to that conspiracy angle, or maybe that person, whoever's been leaving weird messages for Michael, maybe this is more because I mean we didn't go too deep because Michael chickened out, but you know this could be the intended path that someone's leading us along. There might be answers this way.
Interesting. You you get to a little stretch of tunnel that has a ladder that goes up into another entrance into the or another entrance exit into the tunnel system. You've been walking for a fair while at this point. This ladder has the rungs are smeared with yellow paint. And then you hear a voice from behind you that says, and it's a disguised voice, like a robotic kind of sounding voice. I wouldn't go there if I were you. Turn back.
Yeah, Michael's like, no, Michael, I'm Steve. Am I? Steve spins around and like shines light in the direction that you heard the voice.
You see a person about your build, maybe a little smaller. It's hard to tell. They're wearing a kind of a baggy hoodie. They have the hood up of the hoodie, tennis shoes, skinny jeans, but they're also wearing this bronze colored bull mask over their face. And they have a crowbar in their hand. We'll cut back over to Katie. Katie, shall we just fast forward to Rodenbecker Ranch? Silas is Silas like kind of warns you as you kind of get to the ranch, which is just a little which is just outside of town. So you can you have to walk a little bit if you're on foot still, but you'll eventually get there. He says, "Listen, Aunt Dolores, she's completely nuts. I don't recommend going to talk to her. She's going to want you to come watch one of her old videos. She used to like perform, like she was a singer or dancer type. She's going to want you to do that. It's good for a laugh, but I don't think you want to get pulled into that madness. Just throwing it out there. My sister Trinity, who is Lenny's sister, twin sister rather, Lenny's twin, Trinity. That's not her real name, by the way. Her name is Winnie and Lenny, get it? Anyway, well, she's gonna ask you if you're part of the resistance. Just say yes.
You seem to have a lot of criticisms for the women, just the women in your family. What's
Well,
with that, Silas?
let me put your mind at ease, but because my dad's a fucking dick too, okay? He's insane and he's a dick. So, all around bad.
So that's where you get it from?
Hey, I haven't, what have I done?
You were smelling my hair, man.
You thrust your hair upon me.
Yeah, but you didn't have to smell it. Let's just
Okay,
go.
let's
Let's
just
just go.
go. And you do get to the ranch. Let's talk about the ranch. There's a gate at the front of a long gravel driveway. The Rodenbecker Ranch symbol, which is a stylized RBR with a snake winding through the letters, is sort of on the top of the gate. The ranch is a single-story home with a rustic exterior, but it's actually palatial in size. And when you get inside, you'll notice the decor is quite fancy as well. Silas will lead you up the path and into the house. Let's paint the scene, everyone. What here, either in the house or outside the house, shows that the Rodenbeckers are one of the oldest families in Degoya County.
You said like inside the house or around just in general?
Just the ranch, either the grounds or the house that's inside.
The driveway, it's one of those like long winding roads, but then once it enters the ground, it has like that big donut roundabout like driveway, and in the middle of the grounds there is a fountain and like statue sculpture of like a pioneer looking off kind of into the distance with a little placard identifying it as a Rodenbecker ancestor.
Outside the house, there is a sign, a plaque that um, says the house is a protected historical site. You can tell that they have modified it. Like there's additions and stuff to it, and they tried to make it look like it was still part of it. I don't know how they got the permits to do this to a historical landmark, but they're rich, so they can do whatever they want, I suppose.
It's not just with the house itself, but with where the house is at. Not only there is this road that winds up here, but the house is on a hill overlooking the rest of Deep Lake, as though coming from the east side of the United States coming here, this is like the place where they stopped and said, "No, this is where we will find this new town."
The settlers landed here.
Yeah.
Inside the house, it's really dark, even though the house has a lot of windows. They're all like covered with, like, the curtains are drawn, so it's just really, really dark, Katie. And Silas becomes almost like invisible because he's wearing all black. And so you kind of just see him like kind of moving ahead just vaguely in the shadows. And he says, do you want a Coke or something? Mountain Dew, maybe?
We're trying to find your sister. Remember?
Yeah,
I
well,
don't think this is time for niceties.
she's probably in her room. We'll go check on her in a minute. We just walked like 30 minutes in the fucking sun. I'm thirsty. I'm getting a Mountain
Yeah, but
Dew.
you shouldn't have Mountain Dew
I'm just
if you're thirsty. It's full of sugar. Have water.
He says, "You're right. Thanks, doctor." And he grabs a water from the thing. He tosses a water to you and cracks it open.
I think I go to say thank you, but then I remember that I am a strong, independent woman and I don't need no man. So then I just sort of nod instead, like,
Mm. You see a sheen, a glimmer down one of the halls approaching you. As this sheen gets a little closer into the sort of light of the half burned out sodium light overhead, you see that it's a woman who looks very similar to Linnea, except her hair has been dyed black, and she's wearing a full set of black latex catsuit with a black latex coat and wraparound sunglasses. And she says, "Silas, who is this? Has she been vetted?"
oh my good God, how are you not cooking in that?
I don't go outside very often. I have to avoid the gaze of them.
Oh, you're part of the resistance.
"So you know about the resistance," she says as she gets really close to you.
Yeah, of course. I'm in it. And I kind of glance at Silas.
Tell me what it was like when you
Uh,
when you finally woke up.
oh, pretty cool. Not like anything spectacular. Like I don't really have any cool
Have you ever seen
stories.
them?
I mean,
Silas is like
not
snickering in the corner of the kitchen.
not really.
So you've never seen the robots.
The what? And I shoot another look at Silas.
Silas just shrugs and, like, you're kind of on your own here.
I mean, no, I didn't have my glasses on.
How much training have you had? Small arms, hand-to-hand combat?
I'm mostly self-taught.
She kind of stands back. "Show me what you've got."
I think I think I just do like a generic rah 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 kind of cheer.
She says, "I don't
Go
think you're taking this very
resistance.
seriously. The resistance doesn't need cheerleaders, it needs warriors."
Everyone needs cheerleaders, especially the resistance.
And even though I think that you're somewhat frivolous, you do have a rather impressive high kick.
Thank you. I worked on it.
All right. And she goes and she walks really determinedly to the lazy boy across the room and sits down.
So you're Linnea's sister, right?
"I am."
Have you seen her today? She was a bit out of sorts this morning.
"She's in her room. She is
Oh,
acting a little strangely, actually, now that you mention it."
well, let's go check on her.
No.
Okay, which way's her room?
I'm about to
Over
jack
there on
in.
her. Do you need privacy?
And she like, you can't see her closing her eyes because of the wraparound shades, but she does put her hands gently on the sides. Oh wait, it froze up a little bit. Why the? Oh, sorry, it froze a bit. You can't see her closing her eyes because of the wraparound shades, but she does put her hands gently on the arms of the lazy boy and takes in a deep breath. Silas, over your shoulder, says, "She'll be at this for a little bit. I'll point you to Lenny's room."
I want to watch her for a little bit to see if she does anything if, other than just sit there. Like,
Make the meddling move with.
this is weird.
Make it with composure. And because of out of sorts, I'm putting you at disadvantage as well.
Yeah, that's fair. This whole thing is weird. All right, that's a 3.
Ooh, a 3. We'll come back to this. Michael, you have a lead on where the big man might be. What do you do?
Well, I have the lead. However, I was reminded in chat about like something I was intending to do, which was to going back to our little house to go onto the Vector Void forum to message Singerly 308 to investigate Zagreus some more.
Oh, interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's like kind of the person who's really active on one of the people who's really active on
Mhm.
Vector Void. I think that's really great. You do have you don't have a move connected to that necessarily, but I do like the idea of doing the meddling move with. What's your approach? Like, what do you say?
Just more of like a sort of a friendly message saying like, hey, I am like literally in Deep Lake. I have access to like the Zagreus machine itself. So like I could
Oh, good.
do some weird funky stuff with that if like you have any leads on that.
I love it. Uh, we'll come back to that in a moment. Well, go ahead and make the roll. Probably with. I guess this is always kind of a weird inquiry. Let's say reason.
Ooh. All right. Do I have anything? No, I have my computer stuff has already been marked.
Hmm.
Does not matter. That's a 6.
Oh, 2 misses on the table. How interesting. Steve, there's this person with a weird bull mask threatening you. What do you do?
Sorry, Zoom froze and I couldn't press unmute. Yeah, I'm shining the light directly in their face. His eyes go a little wide for a moment. Steve realizes, like, oh God, I think I know who this is. Just conceptually.
Oh,
And
interesting.
I think he like harkens
Do you want to
back
answer
to
the
like,
question?
could I do that?
We can take a moment to answer the
Yeah.
question. Yeah.
Okay.
The
Okay.
question
Cool.
is, just to remind everyone here, the question is, who is Atafoy 85 and why are they doing this? It's a complexity 4.
Yeah, I mean, like, I actually had a theory about this. It could go a couple of ways, but
Okay.
generally, I'll pitch this to my fellow latchkeys, because this occurred to me. So, reviewing the clues we have, at least the clues that I think are relevant to this one, which is the storage unit being covered in drawings of labyrinths, the wall covered in obituaries in the tunnels underneath Deep Lake, that Adafoy had posted Rachel Urietta's journal, where she, talked about the unstoppable forces of entropy in the universe, and that Rachel had a future missing person flyer for Jessica Stosky. Can we briefly remind myself what that means? So a future missing person flyer, like the context behind that clue?
Yeah,
Oh,
that flyer said that flyer was a flyer for Jessica Stosky, when she went missing in 1992, but it was found in 1986.
Gotcha. That supports my theory further. I think, and this stick with me and tell me if this is not possible because I don't recall if anything else happened with him. I think Attaboy 85 is Harvey Stosky.
Oh, the dad.
Is Jessica's dad.
Okay, interesting.
And my theory behind that is that I think Harvey ended up finding that there seems to be this recurring sense of things happening to children in Deep Lake, especially after the disappearance of his daughter. That they were because like Rachel was older than like Jessica would have been anyway.
Yeah, quite a bit older. Yeah,
but like I think the storage unit being covered in drawings of labyrinths. I mean, like I think that it's the previous owner could be Attaboy, which in this case would have been Harvey. I think the like slight descent into madness, especially post grief in the many years that follows still, is this almost obsessive search with trying to hide and obfuscate the dangerous, unstoppable forces that seem to be like taking children over time, like in multiple instances. So like not just with the lake, but also like hiding every instance of like these weird cases, these weird urban legends that he is now obsessively rooting out, because the journal mentioning the unstoppable forces of entropy in the universe could very much also be sort of like a manifesto ethos of like, there are these unstoppable forces of cosmic darkness that are eating away at Deep Lake, and like children keep finding them and like keep stumbling into them, so we have to hide them no matter the cost. And like the obituaries are every child, every kid that has been like missing, declared dead, missing over time, and he's been tracking them down like obsessively, but he's not it's his secret memorial.
So I love all that. I just want some context that like confirms it's Harvey and not some other random adult.
Yeah, it could be just some random. My thought went Harvey because of the Jessica Stosky and Rachel Urieta connection, of just because of like she had this flyer for the future,
right?
And so I think
that got his attention. Yeah, but like in this moment, as you're looking at Attaboy, what makes you think it's Harvey?
Which is funny because I actually haven't met Harvey.
Right.
So I'm.
But you might have done some research beforehand about whenever this mystery became a thing, right? Like, and presumably, Harvey did show up, right, Amanda? So Katie might have mentioned Harvey as well to you at some point.
Yeah, I think maybe there was just like this is not like a formal clue, but since I technically own the unit now, I may have been able to find something explicitly that like
the previous owner,
a previous owner being either an HS or just
like
a Stosky,
Stosky or something like that.
And I think just in this specific moment, oh my god, that's a good point, because you did take an honesty tape from him, so he knows, or at least he has some knowledge. Oh my god.
I like the idea of like, since it's now your unit, you might have just like seen some paperwork from Tim that shows that it was previously, it was Harvey S or something like that, or
Harvey S. And so and he was intuiting it's just like with the fly. You're Jessica's dad. Like that is the only thing that makes sense to me in this moment. Yeah. So
I will point out that you will not have had the chance to talk about.
No, it's just
the flyer clue yet.
Yeah.
So you actually don't know that bit. But out of character, I think it's okay, since you have since you know about the storage unit, I think it might be okay for you to confront him right now, right? I think that's I think that's perfectly fine, if you're correct. Do you want to do the roll?
I would love to, as long as Chaotic and Amanda are cool with it.
Michael, do you want to add? You have a bunch of floating clues. Do you want to add
I
one?
have like 4 floating clues.
Yeah, I'll accept it.
At least 4. You might have 5.
No, it's 4 because I spent 1 a while ago.
Okay.
But in terms of the clues that I do have, I think the reason that Harvey Stosky is like supposedly targeting Michael in particular is because like Michael has a Styx Society shirt. So it reveals
Oh.
like that the person involved has been in Deep Lake for a while. So like it's a native person rather than someone from out of town.
Well, if I remember correctly, we know that Harvey's really pissed about the Pine Rock Ridge being reopened, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so like that actually kind of connects up really nicely. He's generally concerned about the children of Deep Lake. I think that is pretty good.
And yeah, because Adaphoi, as the writer of Zagreus, is the Greek term for kind of like the tragic dead, like the people who died far too soon.
Yeah. Pretty good. Well, the Labyrinth's the bull mask. He's clearly gone nuts. I mean, or he's at least like he's not well. But he means well, I guess. So let's see if you're correct. That would be a +1 if we use that last clue.
I'll take it. All right. Well, that's 6. And I think I will mark the key of the palace because it's unused, and therefore it will
That'll bump it up to a 7.
It'll bump it up to a 7.
Fantastic.
I would rather take Adaphoi off the board, and Zagreus will be a lot easier for us in the future.
Do we all turn a key?
No, it's just the one.
The Mask of the Palace bumps it up by itself. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. If you want to spend it there, then the Mask of the Palace says each latchkey narrates a dream they once had of the occluded king sitting upon a blood-red throne, wearing a bramble crown, reigning over the realm of the dead. That's a very specific dream that you all have to describe at some point. But I like this very much. So let's just have the scene, Steve. What do you do?
Well, I mean, it's exactly as Katie and Steve talked about. You have to tackle and forcefully deal with the things that threaten you. So it's like, he has his voice, say behind him, like, you shouldn't be doing this or whatever. I would stop if you are. He spins around. There's a moment and Adaphoi about to talk again. And Steve just like full like sprint at him and goes to throw himself bodily at Adaphoi.
Since you got a mid result, I'm going to make you make the night move here. What do you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
Honestly, I'm going to trip and fall and be very vulnerable.
It's worse than that. He's going to cave in your skull with the crowbar. If you wish to continue with this, you're going to roll with Vitality, I think. Vitality makes the most sense to me here. Let's have it.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna mark my still package home gym set because I actually think that I've been working out.
Good.
It's unpackaged
Pump
now.
and iron, indeed.
Pump and iron, exactly. I got a +1 to this. Oh, hey, that is a 9.
Nice. Be thinking about what this looks like. We'll come back to Michael. You got a miss, and you were. What were you doing again, Michael? You're chatting. You're
chatting online.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, okay. Let me take a look at Synchroly. I'm gonna remind myself what Synchroly is all about. Synchroly 308 forum user. His profile picture is Galaga. And his location listed as San Bernardino, California. He's been a member since 1994. And yeah, he's just kind of going back and forth. And he says, yeah, so that's cool. He'll like, as you're chatting with him, he'll be asking you some questions about like, about Zagreus and kind of what you've learned so far. You'll also learn that he is actually in video game development himself. He works at an independent game studio in California. And he doesn't seem to have any knowledge of Deep Lake. Like, he doesn't know much about that. But he does know a lot about Vertex Electronica because he actually interned at Vertex back in the summer of '82. He talks about how it was a really harsh place to work. The hours were long. There were very few breaks. Very incoherent meetings from the senior dev teams, just generally a very creepy vibe. And then he says, he tells you this, the weirdest thing about it was after I finally left that fucking place, I kept having dreams. I kept having dreams of of this man like sitting on like a chair, like a throne. And here he's sent you, just to make this easier, he's actually sent you an audio file so I can just
Mhm.
speak instead of trying to
Yeah.
make this sound like typing. He says, he kind of sends you like a audio of his voice. And he says, yeah, this dream, it was this man like covered in blood sitting on a throne. And he he reaches out his hand to me like he wants me to join him. And sometimes in the dream, I actually reach out back. I grab his hand. And whenever I do, I look him directly in the eyes, but I can't make out his face. That's the part of the dream that it's like, it like goes fuzzy. I just see, I just see like, it's almost like it glitches out, you know? And I wake up in a fucking flop sweat. I've had that dream at least once a week ever since, all these years afterwards. I'm telling you this because I think maybe it's not a great idea to be looking into Zagreus for your own mental health. And here, I guess the question I have to ask is, Michael, you've been having the same dreams too, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us about it?
hmm I think this dream sounds familiar. It is on this bloody person. This almost, I would almost describe this person as a king of some sort, wearing this bramble crown, the head just bleeding, oozing gore upon the throne that he sits upon. But I'm not alone in this sort of scene. I'm not being offered a hand. I'm still waiting in line for my turn. There's people that I recognize in front of me. There is my older cousin who is trying to plead away about like the misdeeds that he's done in life, and it's just generally just very sorry for making a mistake. It's not clear what the mistake was. There is my older cousin's friends, Hutch Langley, Ben Carson. There's children in line as well. Carlos Sanchez, Elizabeth Lewis, Jessica Stosky. But even though, but I do note that all the people in front of me are dead. Every single one. And there is no living. So I think that's what scares me the most, is that I'm next to be judged.
I'm going to give you a condition called the Court of the Occluded King.
All the supernatural stuff.
You get it all. Katie, out of character, it was the story we've been exploring with Katie. It was your sister, your little sister, or your little brother that went missing.
They were twins.
Twins. That's right. That's why I can't. That's because it's two. It's both. Yeah. Okay. Great.
Gotta have some creepy twins.
It's. We've never talked about your dad, though, have we?
No, we mentioned that he lives in Oregon, and when my parents split, I chose to live with him.
That's right. Hmm. You're watching Trinity meditating or doing whatever the fuck she's doing. Silas has like wandered off to his somewhere, maybe his room, who knows. And you look over to the left and you see a hallway you don't remember seeing there before. And even more weirdly, this hallway, it's really not a hallway, it's just like a little doorway that leads to a set of stairs going up. But that doesn't make any sense because it's a single floor, it's a single story building. But there are a set of stairs going up. And at the base of these dark stairs, illuminated by just a single dim light bulb, you see your brother and sister in their pajamas, their little superhero pajamas, princess pajamas, their backs turned to you as they're at the bottom of the stairs. And your little brother looks up the stairs and he says, "Mommy?" And they take each other's hand and they start going up the stairs. What do you do?
This is a really good moment for my narration of the key of the palace.
I love it. Let's have it.
Katie is looking at the twins, and they're dressed like and look like exactly how she saw them last when they were alive. And she thinks back to a dream she had when they were wearing the exact same outfits and standing and holding hands, but it was in a darkened room with red lighting that just stunk of copper and viscera, and the ground was squishy and soft, and there was a smell of burning tar. The kids, they were holding hands and looking at Katie, and behind them on a throne of some sort was a long limbed, long fingered black skeleton. Black because the bones were charred and burnt, and it wore a long dark robe. Gesturing to Katie, Katie takes a step back, and the twins say in unison, holding hands, smiling, with blood dripping down their mouths, Red Rover, let Katie come over. And Katie shakes her head back in the moment and heads towards those stairs, thinking to herself, Red Rover.
Do you follow your brother and sister up the stairs?
Yep. I'm out of sorts. I probably wouldn't
I
normally.
think you are going to have to make the night move to go up the stairs. What are you afraid is going to happen if you lose your nerve?
I think what I'm afraid of is that I'll never actually learn the truth of what happened.
It's worse than that. The reason why you'll never learn the truth is because you will be lost in the realm of the occluded king.
Yeah,
This is
we're
going
just-
to be with sensitivity and between I Dream of Deep Lake and Out of Sorts especially, and even the next victim, you're going to be at a disadvantage here.
All right, let's just roll it. Disadvantage and a -1. This is
Not
going
a
to be
great
great.
roll, yeah.
6.
A 6.
That -1.
Steve Knudsen, let's have the scene. What happens here?
So I think Steve like rushes, bull rushes forward, pun intended, and tackles Adolf away to the ground. In the struggle, like, you know, wrestling like knocks the bull mask off entirely. And it's like the flashlight kind of like rolls. You can see like the beam of light illuminates Harvey's profile as they're struggling on the floor there. And I'm curious, since I got a 9, I'm curious to know about the complications you have in mind.
I'm just gonna give you like you're just gonna get bruised up a little bit.
Okay, cool. Then I think in like the struggle a little bit, Harvey probably gets like the better of him for like a moment. And like gets off, like, manages like to shove him off, and like, his head like bangs up against like one of the pipes. And because I'm thinking, as long as my fellow latchkeys agree and Jason, you're cool with this outcome, I think I like the idea of resolving this by means of like going to find Harvey like maybe elsewhere, like whether at his office or home, and like having a conversation with him and maybe like convincing him that he's just gonna like run away. Like, just in the struggle, he like books it off into the darkness, and later I can report. Yeah. Because I thought like, do I have Steve kill him? Don't know if Steve is there yet.
I don't know Steve would do that.
Yeah. So I think we struggle, and then he overcomes Steve. Steve gets a little bruised up, and then Harvey like books it, and Steve will get out of the tunnels.
Yeah, take Bruce's condition. And are you then going to, once you catch your breath, are you going to go up the yellow painted ladder?
I mean, you gotta. The paint's telling me to go there.
It's true. The hatch opens up. The hatch opens up directly into a building, a room. It's very, very dusty and dry smelling. It doesn't smell like anyone's been in this room for a long time. You can see boxes and things piled up. You actually had to shove some of the boxes out of the way to get the hatch open. There's a door that leads out of this room to somewhere else. But you do notice on the walls there are posters of games made by Vertex Electronica, such as 1981's classic Snackman, 1982's Mrs. Snackman, Mouse Puncher 2, The Return of King Rat, and so forth.
Oh, do they got Warriors of History on here?
There is both Warriors of History and Warriors of History 2, Warriors of the Future. So,
it's my favorite joke.
It's a great joke, and that joke keeps going in Pizza Time too. It's a really perfect joke. You're in the offices of Vertex Electronica. This hatch leads directly into them. I don't think you're going to have time in this phase to explore them, but you have access to them. So if you want to come back, you can.
Yeah, I totally think that like once he like realizes what this is, and like he finds his way to like the front door, he like exits, and being like back outside, he's like, oh, it's this building. Okay. Wait, it's probably like some like locale in Deep Lake that's like abandoned, but he'd be like, oh, this is where I am. Okay, cool. I'm going to come back here later. So I need to find my way back to the house.
I love it. Very good. We're going to wrap up the stay phase with Katie. Katie, I'll take the fiction since you got a miss. You're going up these stairs. Your brother and sister still haven't turned around to look at you, and they're barely visible in the dim light on the staircase. Indeed, everything seems a little grainy, a little fuzzy, as if it's being viewed through a camera or something. You get to the top of the stairs. Weirdly, even though you're traveling up a set of stairs, it feels like you're going down. It's a very strange sensation. There's a blue glow coming from behind a door that's slightly ajar. Your little sister pushes the door open. Mommy? They both step inside the room, which is lit with the blue glow of a TV that was playing a tape but is now just left blank, and so it's just a blank blue screen. It's your parents' old bedroom. The bed is made, and you see someone sitting on the bed facing away from you, facing away from your brother and sister. And your brother has a dawning realization. Daddy? It is. You can tell from behind it's your father, sitting on the edge of the bed, facing away from you all. Daddy? They get closer to him. He still hasn't turned around. Daddy, what's wrong? What's wrong, Daddy? Your father picks up something from the nightstand, a crown, and puts it on his head. And then you just snap out of that. You're in the tunnels beneath Deep Lake. You've been in the tunnels for a really long time. Michael and Steve forgot about you. Eventually. After several weeks, they stopped looking. After several months, they forgot about you entirely. It's almost as if you never even existed. You're just down here in the tunnels, wandering. Unless you turn a key.
That'd be a really, really tempting way to go out, but I'm gonna turn a key.
Make your decision which key you're going to turn, and instead, you snap out of it. You're there in the Rodenbecker Ranch living room, and we don't see what else happens after that. Maybe you just you're a little too shaken and startled. There is no stairway. There is nothing like that, and you leave.
Yeah, I think that's an appropriate time to mark the next key of desolation, which changes my stats.
Indeed. That'll conclude our day phase. Taking a look at the mysteries that are active right now, do you all want to try to answer another question at this point? Or you've got 4 clues on Deep Lake Lurker, potentially more with the floating clues from Michael. If you do want to try to do that, we'll take a break so you can think about it a little bit. What do we think?
I think we could probably answer Deep Lake Lurker.
Yeah, I think we got enough, and the floating clues will help. So I'm good to take a theory at that.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Let's take like a 10-minute break, and we'll come back and see what you come up with. Okay, so we are on the dusk phase. Let's take a look at our dusk phase tracker. Do we have any? I don't think we have any moves that resolve in the dusk. We'll figure out. Well, are you going to watch you do have an Odyssey tape. Are you going to watch it, or only one of you needs to in order to do it?
I don't think tonight. I think, yeah.
I mean, I don't have anything I'm doing tonight aside from being worked up and out of sorts. So I might go back to the house and pop on a tape.
It's potential that we just pop on the tape and do a nostalgic move.
Yeah, this might be. You can do one
That's
per
true.
phase. So
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So is that what Michael and Katie are going to do, or?
Yeah.
Like that, and then Steve can go talk to Harvey alone.
Stop it.
Fantastic. Okay, great. So you are watching a tape. We'll get that. We'll deal with that in a moment. Do you want to answer a question right now?
Well, I know that we were thinking about a theory for Deep Lake Lurker, which chaotic. You've got thoughts, but
let's remind folks what we got here. So the question is, if it's a horrid beast, where is the creature's lair? Complexity 4. Opportunity, resolve the mystery by finding the bodies of the missing children. Then, if you wish, find a way to contain the lurker or destroy it. You have the existence of the sinking ceremony, which has continued on to this very day, apparently. We do see that the missing kids, were wearing strange medallions. Um, the water spit Harvey back out. The deep lake is diamond shaped, weirdly enough. Um, I've got these other clues here. Let's see.
which is Michael's clues, and I have a wild theory.
Okay, so yeah, we have some of your free floating clues. So
Hmm.
looks okay. So let's hear it. What's your theory?
Okay. To understand things that even though it is a wild beast, there is method to the madness because there is a cult at Deep Lake that has been sacrificing children to this beast.
Okay.
Uh oh, and because like there is a reason why Harvey Stosky kind of has lost his shit and has been the unprecedented defender of the Deep Lake children, because he knows that his own daughter was sacrificed to the lake.
Hmm.
However, when he tried to go into the lake to try to save her at one point, the lake just spit him back out because it only eats children.
Okay.
So Harvey does know like where things are at, quote unquote. More information about leading to us this theory is that the kids wearing strange medallions, the singing ceremony. So, but these clues all build together because by themselves they don't necessarily lead to location.
Right.
However, in tandem to what Michael learned from the graffiti underneath in the tunnels of the Deep Lake, water equals river. That's referring to Deep Lake. There are tunnels underneath the lake of Deep Lake, and that's where the lair is at.
Oh, interesting. Well, so what does water equal river have to do with it?
It's more or less like it refers to the water bed that's in the soil of Deep Lake, of like the water drips down into the tunnels. So it's like a river in
Oh,
the ground.
underneath. Oh, interesting. Oh,
Uh,
intriguing. Okay.
we know like the sort of artificial nature of the Deep Lake, because it is quote unquote diamond shape.
Hmm.
Uh, we know like there's been like hostility between Harvey and like the sort of like people running the camp because Michael interceded a ransom note.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, and I think Michael in particular was it's a little bit of a stretch, and I'm fine with this clue not being included.
Hmm.
But I think Michael may know people who are involved with the cult because, like, I think the sort of letter that was intercepted for him was sort of a way to like get him, quote unquote, off the streets of Deep Lake and into the camp of like, hey, meet at the arcade that you always hang out at, and we'll take you over to this camp. So
I
like this has been going on for a while, but however, it's a little bit of a stretch, honestly.
so okay. So it sounds like the answer. So what's the answer? Where is the lair?
We have to go into the tunnels underneath Deep Lake,
Yeah.
navigate through them until we reach to the underneath, because like it goes into like sort of this natural
This
cavern.
undernet. This like okay.
Yeah,
It's riverbed underground. Okay, or this sort of like underground
yeah,
river. Okay.
yeah.
Love that. Okay, so we think that's where the lair is. I think that really works. I do like the idea of essentially. So it sounds like this cult was making sacrifices of children to
Hmm.
this beast,
Yeah,
and they began this sort of sinking ceremony thing as a way of and this like and giving the kids these medallions as a way of like uh I mean, like it's almost like the kids were like inadvertently sacrificing themselves in a
yeah,
sense. Yeah.
yeah. It wasn't like sort of like forcibly kidnapped. It was more or less like pleading and making deals with children, and they have
Let's
no
play
idea.
a fun game.
It's easier to hide your sacrifices when you can just make it look like a tragic accident from kids playing.
Yeah, I like that very much. The fact that the water spit Harvey back out in a figurative, almost kind of a figurative sense, indicates that like it's only interested in the kids. I like that. I think that's all great. The idea that, and it all does kind of speak to the idea of the lair of the creature being underground, and so those three clues all work pretty well for me. The graffiti also is a great clue, which kind of directly points to this like underground river, which we think is where the creature is located. I love that. What does the how does the lake being diamond shaped help?
It's sort of like
Man-made.
it's more of a man-made structure because like the like I think like Deep Lake was years ago, there was not a lake. There was just like some water, but however they dug down in
Wasn't
this
there a
particular
crater or
It's a
something?
crater.
Yeah.
We said that in the Odyssey tape, and actually this is a fun idea because it was originally a crater. And if we're introducing the idea of it being man-made, I actually kind of like the idea of, well, the diamond shape is not the crater. Then it is like, yeah, it's when you've seen like a water reservoir, right? How it has the like it's like these like constructed means of holding water. That would mean that Deep Lake is a water reservoir. So it was like it is an artificial construction, and those things usually have tunnels attached to them. So
Hmm.
hmm.
Well, so
I
okay.
think it was a crater lake,
Mhm.
but the crater shape has been um, man-made, like reformed,
Okay.
so that there is an entrance to the tunnels underground. There are other little entrances, which is why the lake is aerated in some spaces, because we talked about that in a Why is the Lake Creepy way.
Yeah.
That's where the air is coming up through from the tunnels and aerating parts of the lake. But the diamond shape is the man-made part in the crater.
It's
So
like
that
it like goes, it points, it's like
it's like a
three-dimensional
funnel.
diamond, a funnel. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, interesting.
it's a funnel, so that when the children sacrifice each other and place the medallions will drag the children down, and it funnels them into where they
To
need
where
to
they need to
be.
be.
Yeah, like a sarlacc pit.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I
Wow.
like that a lot.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Okay, so we've got I think you've definitely got four clues pretty clean here. Five actually with the graffiti. The ransom note. The ransom note is interesting. I don't know that the ransom note and that other clue necessarily speak directly to the location because we already have plenty of evidence of Harvey
Yeah, it's
knowing
it's
about
not.
this.
Yeah.
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 I would probably save that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I was more or less trying to get Harvey to just lead us directly to
Yeah, I think it could be. I don't know. It could be interesting to have Harvey take you there, but
Mhm.
um, I th- I feel like you should be able to, with the clues you've got, you would be able to pinpoint where underground.
Okay, I'll
Is
remove
Yeah.
that for
happening.
now.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, which would
Oh,
which would put it at a +1, which is not the worst. Who would like to roll?
What if we have Katie do it because she's the only one who's
I
investigated
knew
it?
you
Really?
were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that. Oh, I'm like nervous. Okay,
Uh-huh.
come on, trophy dice, don't fail me. And that's a 12.
Wow.
wow.
Look
It's
at
an Odyssey
you. It's an Odyssey clue as
clue.
well. Very good.
Ah,
So the Odyssey clue then is that it's connect. So basically, the Odyssey clue is the existence of.
The cult?
I think it's
No, I think it's more about like the
the
funnel nature of
location.
the lake.
It's
Yeah,
the
it's like
location. Yeah, it's
I
like
mean,
it's the idea that the lake is funneling to somewhere underground,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
Um, It's
I
so
think it's
intriguing.
definitely about the underground thing because that
Yeah.
has come up a couple of times for various things.
So I guess
Being
like what do the kids do?
underground is
Do the
weird.
kids just like they get like funneled into like the silt or something, and then they get swallowed up down and dropped into the
Hmm.
underground river that's been
Yeah.
formed over centuries? Oh, that's pretty good.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, intriguing. How what a horrifying way to go.
For real.
Okay, so cool. um, yeah, that's an interesting clue. Interesting Odyssey clue. You have your answer. You are now entitled to resolve the mystery by finding the bodies. So, is that what? So, who's someone doing that then, or no?
You know what? I think I was going to do a vulnerable move and watch a tape, but I think as I'm on my way back to our house, it's on Rodenbecker Street,
It's on
right?
Rodenbecker Street. Yeah.
Hmm.
Hilarious. As I leave the Rodenbeckers to go to Rodenbecker Street, I think I put together all of these things, and I think I probably send a text message to Michael and Steve, and instead of going to Rodenbecker House, I go back out to Deep Lake,
So
because I'm going to go scuba diving.
you're going down there. Oh wow, Katie taking action. Action hero Katie. I'm into it. Michael, are you gonna keep watching a tape? Are you gonna still watch a tape then?
Probably not in that case because I just really wanted the nostalgic move. Um, Steve, oh God, both of you are doing really dumb shit. Oh, I have to roll because I don't know who.
Take your pick. Bad Lake or confront Harvey Stosky. I mean, really.
Uh, who would like odds?
Go do a dumb third thing. Go be alone by yourself. What can go wrong? You can each be a three-headed idiot.
Because I'm not gonna play Zagreus because that's just
Go have
no.
fun at the arcade. Go play some games.
The
I'll play
arcade
some
at night
games.
would be so much fun.
Go to Galaxy at night. You know what? Maybe.
Okay,
Yeah,
I've
like-
been peer pressured into going to Galaxy Arcade to play.
I actually think I can. I'll probably. I think we can get a nostalgic move out of that. I get it.
Do you want to? I mean, do you want to try to access secret levels?
Potentially, because I still have like two like free floating clues.
And you have one regular clue of Zagreus has claw marks on it,
Mhm.
chipped fingernails pulled off. So that's kind of interesting. The question is, how do you access Zagreus' secret levels? It's a complexity too.
Yeah, and with my free floating clues, it would make it a +1, but I still don't know the theory behind it.
What are your clues? Maybe we can figure it out.
I know what you did, ransom note with magazine lettering and an unset letter to Michael noting a meetup at Galaxy Arcade back in 1985.
So a stick society meeting. I mean, we also have so the claw marks. I think literally you can at the very least intuit that there's like some kind of like panel. It's like one of those like so it's like
Yeah.
you can like try and like get your fingernails under there and try to like
Mhm.
wrench it open, but like it can not careful.
Oh, and it only works at night. That's why there was a meetup, a notice about the meetup at night,
Yeah.
so that somebody to show how to access the secret levels. That was what people were doing.
What
That's
about
how
the
you know to
ransom?
go there at night.
What about the ransom notes?
Maybe the ransom note has like so basically inside these arcade cabinets there would be like dip switches, right?
Mhm.
That like control different aspects of the game. Like you can turn it on so that you have infinite lives, or you can flip them so that you don't have to.
That's the cheat code. That's the secret.
Yeah,
code.
so you don't have to use
So
quarters or whatever. Yeah.
So the ransom note isn't a ransom note, but rather the cheat code.
It's a code.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a code which
Oh my
switches to
God.
flip.
What you DID
Yeah.
boots it up. So you have to pry open this like panel at night because it's like locked
Mhm.
during the daytime, and then you flick in this code and it triggers the secret level.
So does the note say something like does the note say something like uh what if the note says something about like, you know, there's something really we should explore the secrets of the
Mm.
realm of the occluded king at night or something like
Yeah.
that. And I like the idea of like the machine's internal clock has to be set to a
Yep.
Yeah.
certain time, right?
Yep.
And so if you just go at night, it will be, right?
Yes, like I think like in terms of why I think Michael may have mistaken it for a ransom note, it's like it's like the occluded king shall reveal his secrets at night, and
Mm,
it follows up of like I know what you did.
yeah.
Because
Come
that's
here.
the code. Yep.
Yeah.
Come
Oh,
here. You come here at XY time. And then
Mhm.
it just
yeah.
says, I know what you did.
Yeah.
That's pretty
meet
good.
meet me at the meet me. Yeah, so
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun.
A very unhelpful note.
Right, yeah.
But if you
Um,
knew it was a code, it
Exactly.
would be perfect, right?
it'd be
And
perfect,
now
yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Oh, how interesting. This would be a +1. Let's see how it goes.
Michael, roll it. That's
Okay.
3 theories. That's fun.
Oh God. 3 theories,
Yeah.
couple of resolutions, maybe? Who knows? Okay. +1. That is a 7.
You are correct, and you have now unlocked the special move. Press start. Press start says. Let me find it here. When you play a game of Zagreus in an attempt to beat a secret level, you roll with composure or reason, your choice, and then different things can happen depending on which level you're on. So you now have the ability to play the secret levels at your leisure or whenever you have access to the machine, and I think that's great.
So I'm thinking, just to spare you a little bit chaotic, I'm thinking we can do it if it's an arcade, it's probably open at night.
Yeah.
We can go there. You can check out this machine. We can do a nostalgic scene, and I may have sent Harvey a message because we had a scuffle in the tunnels. We're like, let's have a chat, and it's like we'll meet at the arcade. And
Well, so how have you gotten in touch with Harvey after he ran out of the tunnels? Like, do we know where he is generally?
I mean, he's a lawyer, right? I assume he has an office, so like I probably could have like called his office and like left like a voicemail. You know,
Yeah, or maybe I mean,
Or
it's probably
maybe-
not too hard to get in touch with him.
Yeah. I sent him a ransom note cut from magazine.
Well,
but I-
actually, no, because you're in contact because Michael's in contact with him online, right?
Yeah.
Because like he keeps harassing
yeah,
him, right?
because
So-
you can just message the Attaboy account
yeah,
back.
yeah.
Like I could just like quite literally just send a picture of the ransom note I got it.
And and just like can like message and just be like, let's end this. Just discuss it and then tell him that me and Michael will be at the Galaxy Arcade tonight. So
How interesting. Okay. Interesting.
The worst idea.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm
so
happy.
the two of you are hanging out at the arcade, and Katie, you are gonna go diving in the lake at night. Is that the plan?
oh, I'm sorry, us hanging at the arcade's the worst idea.
Oh, fantastic. You did get a good result though, so it should be fairly straightforward. Okay, I love that. That's probably, yeah, I think that's probably like 2 actions roughly each, which is what you're allowed to do in the night phase if you're not watching a tape. So why don't we take let me take a look at the rest of the phase tracker and make sure I'm not missing anything. We do have some key prompts that are not resolved yet. I think we still need Steve's Key of the Palace. And do we have any others? Very well. Why don't we take a 5-minute break so I can think about these scenes, and Steve, you can think about your Key of the Palace, and we'll come back and do our night phase. It's the night phase. The very first thing, a plot twist. Katie, you're with Joey Keane in the boathouse. He has these little air canisters that have little dangly mask things that you put on so that you can breathe underwater. And he's kind of getting these stuff. He's going to go with you. He's offered to go with you at least. And he's put the air canisters on, and he has the little mask thing dangling down. And that's when you realize the kids in the vision, when you saw them approaching in the flash, they weren't wearing medallions around their neck. they were wearing the dangling little masks of the air of the air supply. They knew what they were doing. They were going down of their own volition in the so-called sinking ceremony. He says, "What's wrong? Why do you what's going on? You look like you saw a ghost." He
The
saw those
kids.
kids too, incidentally.
The kids. Do you remember the kids? The thing around their neck? It's that.
Oh
It's
yeah,
that thing.
the ghost that he's like, oh yeah. With the camera flashes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Oh,
they knew. They knew.
they they went down there on
But
purpose.
why? Were they part of the cult?
I don't know. This is a mystery.
But none of the clues pointed to this.
He says, "Well, what are we gonna do? Do you still want to go down there?"
Well, I mean, we kind of have to, right? I mean, we're not going to find out anything up here.
He says,
Just be really careful, okay? We'll hold hands and we won't let each other go, okay?
he's like, "I don't think that's the best thing to do for safety purposes, but I've got a flashlight and we've got air. We'll be okay. I haven't
Maybe we should tether to each other. So if one of
I
us
have to
gets
warn you, I'm
pulled.
supposed to be doing preventative maintenance on these on a regular basis, and I haven't exactly been doing it. I think they have air in them, though. I think they're all good.
Okay. Can we check before we go?
We'll cut there. Um, I think FG sees you fiddling behind, got the panel open, flipping the dip switches. And did we decide that like the dip switches, like they're all
Mhm.
labeled or something?
Yeah,
And
they have like
Yeah.
it's like letters probably. I'm
Mhm.
imagining it's like what was that? Like those label printers of someone just like the like individual covered up all their original things, just the individual letter markings. So it's
okay,
like yeah,
and it has to like spell
I
out a
know what you
sentence.
did.
I know what you did. Yeah, yeah. He's like, and FG's kind of over both your shoulders, and he's like, "So what's gonna happen here? I mean,
Well, so funny story. So this thing, it's there's like a cheat code you punch in there, and it unlocks extra levels that are usually
he's like,
unavailable. Yeah.
oh, the kids have been talking about the secret levels. That's great. Oh, that'll get
Yep.
them back in. I love it."
Yeah.
And you flip the last switch, and we hear the machine, which was just sort of like kind of gently humming previously, waiting for someone to put their quarter in. Suddenly, it goes berserk. It's just like. Zagreus, secret levels unlocked. And you now have access to the secret levels.
I really like that song. Can we do it again? Turn off the switch. No.
What do you
Oh.
both do?
Oh, FG, I think you got a new hot ticket for the night crowd. I'll tell you what. All right, Mikey, why don't you go ahead and put a quarter in her, and
Mhm.
I'm going to grab us a slice of za.
Very good. Do you want to play a level?
Sure, but before Steve gets his on, yeah, this is definitely no Konami code or anything of that nature.
Is that like a Dan Brown book series?
No, it's it basically is like a sort of a cheat code that shows up in like multiple like video games. It was like the first ever cheat code.
Were we talking about the Konami code?
Yeah,
What about the Konami code?
I'm trying to trigger the nostalgic mood,
Yeah, no, we're talking
Jason.
in
Oh,
character.
oh.
Yeah.
Very good. Sorry, keep going. I tuned out for a minute.
Okay, that's cool. Nice. So like
Mhm.
yeah, no, oh okay, yeah, because it's just the sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you really know a lot about video games, Mikey.
Yeah. So it's
It,
like I almost play them a lot.
oh wow, yeah, I bet you,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Like I figured, like you going up in the north in the snow and whatnot, you probably played indoors a lot.
He gets this 1,000-yard look in his eyes for a moment. I'm gonna do my key now. Actually, it's a really fun transition point. No, I think as Steve like looks off to the side as Mike mentioned, spending a lot of time indoors, we see a dark bedroom belonging to a young Steve. He has a race car bed, and the even though like the kind of like diaphanous white linen curtains are closed, you can see through them the faint moonlight and a glow from a street lamp coming in very, very faintly. But outside is just a swirling haze of blizzard snow, frigid and cold up in the Great White North. And a young Mike is sleeping in his bed pretty soundly. The soft rise and fall of his chest. You can see that at one end of his room across from the bed, there's a little stand and a little TV box TV set in there, plugged into has like an Atari in there. And after a moment's breath of just stretching out in this placid silence, the screen comes on and just a haze of static, and it kind of like it lights the rest of the room with its snowy static glow, as young Steve is roused slightly by the sudden noise of static and the bright light. Blearily cranes his head up, sleep still caking his eyes. So he looks over there, and through the static he starts to see that the input switches over to the Atari, and a little black pixelated floating text on it just begins to hover there, and he can't really make it out through the sleep, but by the time he rubs his eyes, the screen has changed, and now it's just a pixelated avatar of some shape that is a dark figure seated upon a blood red throne. And even in the very low resolution pixel art style, the brown shape around its head, it's very reminiscent of what Steve sees in church all the time. That reminds him around the brambles, the thorny crown upon Christ's head. And he kind of pulls the blanket up a little higher because he doesn't know what game this is. This whole thing seems kind of weird. And then the TV begins to give this soft, moaning wail, like a bunch of zombies just, and various pixelated nightmare hands begin to emerge from the corners of the screen, fingers fiddling towards the edge of the frame. And as Steve hides himself under the covers, he wakes up in bed, and the TV is just off, and there's a little snow outside. And it cuts back to the present. And he says, "I was never really much of an indoor gamer. It's I liked books. I liked books about dinosaurs. I also liked books about cops as I kind of got older. So I got into James Patterson at a really early age."
James Patterson? That author with the 1,000 ghostwriters and whatnot?
Okay, hey, okay. Now hold on a minute. Let's not talk about my boy, right? Don't talk about Jimmy P like he's some sort of hack, okay? Let's he writes good quality books, but nevertheless, yeah. Honestly, I'm starting to get more of the appeal of games vicariously through you. So
yeah, I can get us the house a console game so we can all play together. That's the appeal of it. You play with other people.
okay, I'm not opposed to it. I'm certainly not opposed to it. I just try to, like maybe like I'm getting more into this fitness thing. I mean, you see how Katie is. She can't stay in one place. She's always moving, and I mean, you gotta somehow look that good some way.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like maybe we got to get up and out a little bit more often. So you know what? But maybe we do like a once a week thing.
Yeah.
But in the interest of fitness, let's temper our expectations. I'm gonna go grab us some pizza. I'll be right back. Finger guns. He's out of there.
Fantastic. Did we get conditions cleared in this scene?
No.
Not yet. Not yet. We can keep going. Just
Very well, very well. We'll check back in with Katie. Katie, you're both going down into you find the funnel. That was correct. And the kids definitely would have had to have had some kind of breathing apparatus to go down this far. It's very, very deep. As you go deeper and deeper. When you get to the terminal point of the funnel, you all expected to find like some soft earth or something down there, some silt to push through, or who knows, something like that. Maybe an underground cave that would eventually let up into, another, like an underground river or something. But what you see instead is a hatch at the bottom of the river, at the bottom of the diamond funnel. And the hatch actually it's a white hatch, and it has the words "Welcome Children" printed on it.
I
Joey
gesture to
motions.
Joey
Yeah.
like this.
He goes and he undoes the hatch. It pops open, and he flashes the flashlight in there, and it seems to go down into like a room. Do you swim down into the room?
I swim down into the room.
When you swim down into the room, Joey pulls the hatch behind you, and that triggers a mechanism that empties the room of water. The water just empties out. And you see on the walls, as the flashlight flashes around, messages written on the walls. Welcome, children. Do not be afraid. Please follow the yellow arrows. And you see yellow arrows, like tape yellow arrows, pointing down a little, like kind of down a little hall to a door.
I take off my breathing mask because I don't need it anymore. And I turn to Joey. Joey, I really appreciate you swimming down here with me, but from this point, I don't know if you want to come. I'm gonna go because I can't. Well, there's something you should know. I've been kind of under this mystery of my childhood, my whole life of I don't really remember. Something bad happened and I don't remember what it was. And I'm sick of being in the dark, you know? I'm sick of it. And
Well, I've got a
this whole
flashlight,
place.
so
No, you don't understand. It's all of Deep Lake. It's when people leave here, I've talked to people. It's like they forget what happened here. And that happened to me and now I don't remember. I want to find out what happened to these kids. I'm going to find out. I'm going down this hallway. It might be something really bad. Maybe you should go just in case I don't make it out so that somebody knows what's going on.
and he kind of like looks a little confused, and he says, Katie, I almost let 3 kids drown last week because I'm not good at my job.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
And I've felt kind of bummed out about that, Like, what could have happened if somebody hadn't grabbed those kids in time? I feel a little guilty about it, to be honest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not going to let you drown, Katie.
And I think Katie right now is thinking about all the times that he's not been very reliable with anything. Well,
And
I
he
guess
like,
it is your choice.
and I think he like, I think he, he's not, he's like, not wearing a, he's you've been swimming, so he's just got this like little red swim trunks on or whatever, and he kind of like moves up to you, gets close to you. His buff bronze chest is very close to you, and he says, "I've got you, girl." But he kind of puts his
And
arm near you.
in many, many circumstances, that would work for Katie. That would work real easy. But for some reason, in this moment, she's just not really feeling it. And I think I put my hand on his chest, and I don't push him, but it's definitely a you're not coming any further towards me. Don't move your face this direction. Thanks, Joey. Let's go.
And so you head down and leave him behind then.
I think I'm heading down, and he can do what he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he'll wait for you to get wherever you're going because he's going
Yeah.
to flood the place again if he opens the hatch.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't go far. There's just another hatch, but it's a door hatch. Do you go out?
Yeah, I call out to Joey that there's another hatch, and I'm gonna close it behind me so he can get out. And I open it up and step in.
It lets out into a sort of like kind of metal, kind of like a mesh metal staircase, and all along the staircase there are burnt out candles going down. And you can actually hear as you go down the stairs, there's a couple of switchbacks. As you go further and further down, you can hear the underground river. You all were correct about that part. There is a river. And the candles are along the riverbank, indicating that you should follow the river. Do you?
Yeah, I think by the time I get down the metal stairs, the rubber swim shoes I was wearing are probably shredded from the steps. So I think I probably just go barefoot. I kick them off and try to quietly, just in case there's something down here, because I'm pretty sure there's still a beast. I'm gonna try and quietly follow the river.
I think this is going to be the night move.
Yep.
What are you afraid is going to happen if you lose your nerve?
I don't know if I'm more afraid I'm gonna fall into the river, or if I'm more afraid that the beast is gonna hear me and eat me. I think the beast. I'm more afraid of the beast.
Well, it's worse than that. Well, I'm not sure how it's worse than that. Getting eaten by the beast feels like pretty bad. So we'll just go with that. This is going to be with composure, and you are the next victim, sadly. So you're going to be rolling at disadvantage.
Let's go. Oh no. Okay, that's a 6.
Hmm. Let's keep going at Galaxia Arcade. You have the secret levels. You're still kind of hanging out and chatting. You could be
Mhm.
playing the game while you talk, I suppose.
Yeah. We can multitask.
Like I'm munching on pizza,
Mm.
just like watching the screen, probably dripping some grease on it, just because of how far hunched over I am.
Mhm.
The very first level of Zagreus' secret levels is called the Descent. It features pixelated pastoral fields, a dark pixelated cave, friendly little blocky NPCs. This level requires you to solve a series of simple adventure game puzzles to enter the underworld. Let's paint the screen, everyone. What do we see that makes us think the pixelated characters are in distress?
I don't know if I've ever the previous time I played Zagreus, I can't remember if I said this. I think their sprite animations, it like they're running around and you could assume that their arms just are like, they're doing like this like wave or kind of like hello, hello, hi, jumping up and down. But you could also interpret it to be them banging up against the screen. It's hard to tell. It's a little distorted.
It blends in with the music of the level, but if you listen very closely, you can hear what sounds like very quiet screams.
The game tries to give you helpful hints, but rather it's trying to draw your attention away from these screaming, helpless little characters to actually puzzle solving and just reminds you of no, these are just background things. They're not people. They are not people. Don't worry about that.
The move says that you have to roll with composure or reason your choice in an attempt to beat this level. Which do you choose?
Reason, because I believe like composure and reason are the same for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have anything that can help me out. I have too much spooky stuff. That's a 7.
On a hit, you mark the first unmarked box below, that's on my little list here, and collect that level's prize. You have defeated the level, and you have successfully, or you've defeated the level, and now you get the prize for this level, which is a new level appears on the select screen. You reach, interestingly enough, you reach the river level. So you are probably reaching the river level just as Katie is reaching the underground river beneath Deep Lake. But you can go ahead and give me just a little bit of narration as you like defeat the level. What does that look like?
I think like Michael is just doing like things like this is God, why did they put like a puzzle adventure type of solve thing on an arcade cabinet? This was a terrible design choice. But it's also kind of cursed, so like beggars can't be choosers. I think we don't really see Michael playing the game, but rather we have like more of like just the conversation between Michael and Steve. It just goes, yeah, I get that we have like different hobbies. Like I'm just sort of just
It was
attempt.
it was weird, right? Because it was like you had to pick up that box, and
Yeah.
it made you put that box on a pedestal, and then the pedestal went down like Indiana Jones style, and then a door opened up, and inside that door there was it was like Satan had chewed up an etch a sketch and then shit out a bad game. So it's like it was just. I mean, I'm glad you seem to like you aced it. So I mean, I'm impressed. But it seemed
Yeah.
bad.
I have good memories of like playing these types of games back in Galaxy Arcade years ago. Uh, still well maintained for how old it is, but I'm really tempted to just reach out to like some old friends of mine that may be still in Deep Lake
I just
because
got a thought. Sorry, Kat, I just got a thought. Because we had messaged about clearing a thing. I think maybe in the background, FG had maybe mentioned any luck finding that big friend of yours because you'd been in here, and
Yeah.
so like I think Steve will like look at Mike and go, "Are you? I'm sorry. Wait, is he talking about the guy from the basement? You were in here
Yeah.
looking for him? That weird
Uh,
guy?"
Yeah, like because like I keep on receiving stuff in the mail and just receiving just weird warnings all across Deep Lake. Like I figured like there's got to be something behind that. So, and that's the only like really weird person I can think of.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, I completely forgot about him, Steve said, lying. Um, yeah, okay, well, how'd that conversation go?
Uh, like I sort of chickened out on that. Basically, I would just have to like wander out into the desert.
You chickened out. It's what do they say? It's kismet, Mikey, because I had a great conversation with Katie today about like confidence and like rising to the occasion. Buddy, if you chicken out, that's why we got the Steve and Mike tag team wombo combo going on here. You know, all you need is a buddy. What do they say over at the camp that I haven't been to? 2x2 to stick together like glue. I mean, it's like you and I go out in the desert, maybe get some answers from that big fella. If he's out there somewhere, I mean, maybe we can have a word with him. I mean, he definitely strikes me as one of those like, oh, I got a caravan camper out in the middle of the desert and I'm smoking ayahuasca and shooting cocaine or whatever they do when you're a vagrant who speaks weird things. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a little. I'm still kind of like riding the high earlier when I tackled Harvey Stosky. Like,
Yeah, you look like you got into a fight. Like,
I feel great. I feel fantastic, bud. Like, I mean, like you got to talk to Katie. She gives great pep talks. Like, honestly, I was afraid of the confined spaces. Well, I wouldn't say I was afraid. It was just like, you know, a little, it was claustrophobic, but like I spoke with her and I braved it. So what you need, buddy, aside from another slice of za and a peppy diet Coke, a pop, if you will, you need to get yourself a little confidence booster, Mikey boy. I think that's what you need. And we can go talk to that guy together, you and I. You know, he's got to be out there somewhere. Maybe we can get answers.
I love it. Are you both going to clear big man then?
I think so, yeah.
yeah.
You'll get to define a clue in a moment here as well. But I will tell you that you hear the little front door chime go off and you see Harvey Stosky walking into the arcade. Sans bull mask. Katie, you follow the river for a time until you reach a part where you don't need your flashlight because there are candles and torches lit in this little pocket of cave. All around in the floor in this space, you see the bones of the children piled up. And you can see that this space actually has a little dip. It goes down. There's a kind of steep, kind of like incline or decline on the other side of this little space. And you can see, waving your flashlight around, many more bones. Hundreds, possibly thousands of skeletons and bones discarded down into what appears to be a pit or something. And then you hear, weirdly, from the darkness down below, the howling of a wolf. It howls and echoes and startles you, and you slip and you slide down and crash into the pile of bones down below. And then you see in the darkness, looming over you, 3 sets of glowing red eyes. They move closer. And then you see a towering monstrosity, covered in fur, but spindly like a spider. 3 wolf heads on one enormous spindly wolf body. They open their maws wide, and that's the last thing you see. Unless you turn a key.
Man, I fucking dare you. Triple
It's
dog dare you.
so
Literally triple dog
triple
dare
dog.
you.
It's so tempting not to turn a key. This is very tempting.
Be the
But
latchkey who dies.
I am going to turn the key. I'm gonna do the wandering monolith.
Fantastic. Instead, the scene is as I described. You still hear the howling. You do not fall down into the pit, but you know where the beast is. Maybe it's just a really big wolf. Who knows? But you found the skeletons. This is almost certainly where the kids ended up. And that's the mystery resolved. We'll come back to this in a moment. I do want to check in with Steve and Michael. Harvey Stosky approaches. He's got his he's got like a light jacket on. The desert air does get a little cool at night. His hair is kind of messy. His glasses actually have a crack. And he says, I guess there's nothing else I could say to you to convince you to let this all go, huh?
Steve slides a paper plate of pizza over to him and says, Harvey, take a seat. We got to talk.
He sits down. He says, I'm just trying to help you kids. That's it.
Yeah, and you've been causing quite a lot of trouble for the people doing it. Look, Harvey, I got to tell you, like, I commend and understand, but also real dick move to just start sending people threats online.
I had to. It wasn't a threat. You know that. You figured it out. I had to code my messages to you. There are too many people watching. There are too many people who know what's really going on in Deep Lake.
So who are they? What is really going on in Deep Lake? Harvey, you have been asking questions and investigating for years. We've just been back for the better part of a month. I don't see why we can't put our heads together and be at odds. You want answers. We want answers. You want bad stuff to stop happening. We want bad stuff to stop happening. And honestly, I don't think it's as white and black as you're putting it out to be. I think we can help each other, but you gotta ease up on the reins. You gotta, as my uncle Donnie would say, you gotta fucking relax, bud.
And he kind of looks at you both. He says, I'm sorry if I alarmed you.
It's okay. And honestly, you got a mean left hook, he says, like poking at the
I'll
shiner a
delete
little bit.
everything related to Attafoy 85. I'll let this all go. I won't bother you. I might even be able to help you.
Mhm.
And he pulls out of his pocket the clue that you're both going to define right now for your
Ooh,
move.
that's a good. That's slick. That's real slick.
So you think about what he pulls out of his pocket, and it has to be a clue for one of the active mysteries. Be thinking on that, Katie, and that will be the conclusion of your night phase once you get the clue. Katie, I just want to know, you hear the howling coming from deeper below in the cave from this pit. You see the bodies. I'm assuming that's not something you want to deal with right now, but what do you do?
I think actually I am going to take one of the skulls,
Uh,
and I'm going to take that with me as I go as proof that I found bodies.
yeah, that's good.
And then I'm going to take, because you said this place is lit with torches, right?
Just this little space where the initial bodies and then the entrance to this creature's lair is. Yeah.
I'm going to throw one of the torches down near the entrance of the lair. My hope is that either it will catch fire and burn the beast, or it'll at least give me time to get away.
I think you do that, and you just glimpse. You just glimpse 3 wolf heads staring at you from down below in the darkness. I think that maybe Katie just thinks it's like 3 big wolves down there, but in the alternate timeline, we know that it's actually like a single creature. But in any case, You can run.
Yeah, I'm running.
And that'll conclude your night phase as well. What's the clue that Harvey pulled out of his pocket?
I messaged Chaotic some
Mhm.
thoughts. While
Yeah.
the easy answer would be something for Zagreus, I think it'd be interesting to get like a slumber party clue to
Mhm.
enforce the theme of like all of these things being connected. And
Yeah.
all I've said so far is I'm keen to get Chaotic's that
Yeah.
or was like it should be something involving the Rodenbeckers and like the history of Deep Lake.
I think with like Harvey Stocksky really being concerned about like the children of Deep Lake, I think it's more or less like a note on how the Rodenbeckers are the only family that has not lost any children.
Ooh.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah.
that's good.
Fantastic. That concludes the night phase. And let's go to the dawn. A mystery was resolved. You resolved the Deep Lake Lurker. Let's get rewards for said mystery. We'll click this here. And I'll drop the image into our chat. I'll read it aloud for folks who are watching the video. It says, one of the rewards is a conversation with either Harvey or Mary Stosky on Deep Lake's banks, where you tell a story about your time at Pine Rock Ridge. Unmark a key of the child you have already answered. This reward is only available to a latchkey who has the condition the next victim, and the requirements to clear it were not met. The requirements to clear the next victim are...
Was making an offering to the lake.
No, that's the Dream of Deep Lake.
Oh,
Mhm.
Dream of Deep Lake.
Yeah, the only way to clear it was by having someone else go in the lake.
Yeah. Okay, so the next victim can only be cleared after the Deep Lake Lurker is... Oh, you didn't contain or destroy the Deep Lake Lurker. So you can take that reward, Katie.
Yeah, I think Harvey Stosky is going to be tell a story of the time of Pete unmark a key of the child. Yeah.
I mean, you don't
I'm
have to do
gonna
it
take
right now, but
Yeah.
yeah, you have it. Just make a note that you have this.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Emily Beaumont can become a recurring side character. You get one extra clue on the meddling move when you consult her about matters related to Deep Lake's natural environments. You can get a Pine Rock Ridge branded multi-tool, a lifeguard whistle, or a memento from the investigation. What do we want?
I'll have Steve get a memento from Katie.
Okay.
Because he did not do anything on this.
That's true.
mystery.
Yeah. I
So it's
brought you
like,
something from Pine Rock Ridge.
what'd you get me? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll let you think about that.
I mean, you helped come up with the solution, but
Yeah.
Michael, what do you want as a reward?
I think this is gonna be a bit of a weird one, but I want Emily Beaumont becoming a recurring side character because I think as per the previous night phase, Michaels did mention that he wanted to reconnect with old friends, and I think Emily was a friend of his.
You can note that somewhere, wherever you need to, either in reference moves or Decoya County on the tabs. Let's keep going. Oh, well, what are you going to give to Steve as a memento?
Copy of Daniel Kwan's notebooks.
Nice.
You took it, you like Xerox copied his notebooks?
Yeah, because you had him for a while. Yeah.
I'm gonna give his notebooks back. I'm not mean.
I love it.
Fantastic. And let's keep going here. Dawn questions, did the latchkeys resolve a mystery? Yes, you did. Everybody gets that. There's not an opportunity for a signal from the other side because you have not watched tape. But, Katie, did you deliver a chilling monologue about something that happened to you in the past?
I kind of talked to Joey about it, but not really.
Fantastic. Oh, actually, you know what? Oh, no, yeah. That's great. Did you go out of your way to reconnect with Deep Lake? Quite literally, but
Yeah.
the Deep Lake.
Went into the lake.
The lake, yeah, I'll give it to you. I don't know if you went out of your way. Well, you did kind of because you did it by yourself, so I think that counts.
And
yeah.
the idea was like I was talking to Joey beforehand about how I'm trying to figure out all these mysteries from my childhood.
Yeah. No, I think it fits. Steve, did you go out of your way to reconnect with Deep Lake?
By means of Harvey Stosky, literally to reconnect with this other investigator who's been doing
Yeah.
it much longer than we have. Yeah.
I'm into it. Did you share a good memory from your childhood?
I don't know if I did, because I talked a lot about how I didn't play games.
Yeah. Michael, did you go out of your way to reconnect with Deep Lake?
I'm not sure because I didn't go out of my way, like because I did reconnect with Deep Lake via Steve Knudsen, so like it was more incidental.
Oh, um, I'm trying to think. Yeah, did you go out of your way? I'm not sure. Did you
Yeah.
share a good memory from your childhood, though?
Yes, because I tried to like bring up of like, oh yeah, like I used to play video games and I should reach out to like some old friends of mine.
Fantastic. Let's keep going with our phase here. Do we have any unresolved key prompts? Then that is the end of the session. Let's go to stars and wishes. Right on time. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I'll throw out some stars I noted down. Right off the bat, Amanda, star to the cheerleading move at the start there. That was really entertaining to how you justify that and doing the backflips and all that. I was tickled. Big star to the yellow paint. That was really funny. It took me a second to get what you're doing, but like it then fell into place and you're like, it's like on ledges and doorways. It's one of my favorite, like unironically, I do love the paint on ledge. I know some people complain about it, but I'm
I
like,
have
honestly,
forever wanted to make a fantasy role playing game that is about the people who go in ahead of the adventurers and paint all the ledges and light all the candles. Because in these games, there's always like thousands of fucking candles lit, like in Tomb Raider and Uncharted and stuff. Like, who lights all these goddamn candles? Like, so I've always thought it'd be cool to play a game where you are like the advanced team of the characters, where you like paint the ledges, you light the candles, you do all the things that they need to like.
game is called Dungeon Dressers. And
Yeah,
that's
something like that. Yeah, like the crew that goes in
Dungeons and
before.
set dressers. Yeah. That's fun. I like that. No, I do unironically love that. That was great. Also start to Joey's comment about like almost let some kids drown. Specifically, I felt kind of bummed out about that. That was really funny. Cool thematic star to just the serendipity of the
river.
Yeah, the river level being unlocked while Katie was diving into the lake in the river. And also just genuine star to the resolution and well, the appearance of the lurker, having never seen the horrid beast angle of this before. Very it was a lot of fun getting to see how that resolved. So that was edge of my seat. Very creepy, very cool. Big old wolf spider, literally. I loved it. And yeah, for wishes, I don't know. I'm really kind of stoked by the idea of having like this Harvey Stosky around, because this is also kind of a star. I mean, like how we've kind of connected the multi-mysteries with that theory of it being like, oh, but Harvey's also doing all this. So I don't know. In general, like we're getting this really cool.
He's like Latchkey Emeritus or something.
Yeah.
Right?
We're getting this really cool, like interconnected mystery thing happening now, and it's weaving, and it's also feeding back to like the Odyssey mystery stuff. So I'm really excited to start pulling the threads at like what does Harvey know and how he might come into to continue to influence the story. And as for other wishes, I mean, the notion of Michael and Steve going out to the desert to go talk to the big man sounds like a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to that. So
yeah, stars. I really I'll second all that, and I I really enjoyed. I'm really enjoying Katie's like independent woman thing. This like Katie's new feminism. I'm super into it. Because like you can tell that like Katie's like checking herself all the time, and like actively trying to be this person, which I think is great. But also but also like being like really like kind of like assertive and take charge, which is fun. Um, I do enjoy playing Joey, and I like the dynamic. And I actually really enjoyed the dynamic between Silas and Katie and Joey and Katie. I thought that was a lot of fun to play. The scene at the arcade was really enjoyable. I really like the big star for the whole Harvey Stosky thing and like working him into the solution of of a Zagreus question, which I thought was really cool. And again, I'll second the idea that like I like how interconnected these things. They all feel so interconnected, and at the heart of it is TV Odyssey still, right? Like we have another TV Odyssey clue, which I think is so cool. And so, as an associated wish, I am really intrigued by the key economy and whether you all are going to have to answer the TV Odyssey question earlier rather than later so that you can survive the whole campaign. I think that'll be really intriguing. You you won't have to mark another key. You won't have to mark another like layer transition key. When will you have to mark one? We would have moved into layer 3. We'll be moving into layer 4 once you watch 2 more tapes. And so you've got 2 more tapes before you have to mark a key of the child because of the layer transition, but that'll be Night of the Bone Wolves. So it'll be intriguing to see if like what you have left by the time you get to Night of the Bone Wolves, if you even make it to Night of the Bone Wolves, you might decide to answer the question before you get to Night of the Bone Wolves. And that adds like an interesting like strategic element to the game because it's like if we go all the way to Night of the Bone Wolves, there's a chance that we don't make it, you know? So should we try to figure out now what's going on with TV Odyssey before we get that far? And so I'll be really curious to see how that all plays out. That's what I'm here playtesting, so I'm intrigued to see how that goes. But yeah, just outside of the playtest, I'm really enjoying the story. I'm enjoying the pace of everything, and I'm enjoying all the little flashbacks are great always. So yeah, just having a good time.
Yeah, it definitely like sort of like this is more wish territory. It definitely raises up the question of like because you can get Odyssey clues from other things besides the Odyssey tapes, so there is like a potential of you not all unlocking like layers of the Odyssey conspiracy
Yeah, you
effectively.
could theoretically go after the TV Odyssey question early. Yeah.
Yeah, like so it'd be like really interesting to like have like sort of like almost like on the level of premise projection of like not watching any Odyssey tapes during the entirety of like of a campaign of public access.
That would be weird though.
That would be
That would be not
really
playing in the spirit of the game. That'd be
yeah
really bizarre. Yeah.
yeah yeah but
I will never design around that. Like
mhm,
I'm never going to design around the player who's like I'm not watching Odyssey. They're like fuck you. This game is not for you. Sorry. So yeah.
yeah yeah but it just makes me wonder about the possibilities but back to
I
our
think you
game
can strategically watch them and not watch them. I think that's
mhm,
different than
mhm,
like because like if you're not watching the tapes and you're just trying to like you wouldn't even be able to get them from just doing answer a question unless you were burning keys
mhm,
to bump up your
yeah
results, right? So
mhm,
like no matter what, you're marking keys, I feel like. But
mhm, yeah 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 it definitely makes me wonder about like the numbers game of like how many keys versus this one route versus another route uh but that's neither here nor there but I really did like our theorizing and like our sort of like our engagement in like the numbers game because like I have not seen that before in like a lot of like any like CFB games of like oh if we're really trying really hard to get that 12 plus so like we can get to the Odyssey mystery before the Night of the Bone Wolves because like we're running really low like if we go through all the layers like I have 2 more keys to spend before reaching the white signal.
well, that's not quite right because there's only one more. There's only in the playtest there's not a fifth layer. It's
Hmm.
just the 4 layers
uh
and then the TV Odyssey mystery. So
that's 3.
the only mandatory one that you're going to be required to mark is when we get to Night of the Bone Wolves. Like you'll have to
Mhm.
mark one then, and then and you have currently 3 keys of the child and the chromatic desert still left. So yeah, you have 3 keys like
Mhm.
essentially like usable outside of that paradigm, and so it's not a huge amount, right?
Yeah, it's
But you've
not.
also got 5 Odyssey clues.
Hmm.
You are making good progress on answering the TV Odyssey question. So yeah, it's really just going to come down to like the timing of when you answer the Odyssey question,
Yeah,
basically. Yeah.
yeah. But I really liked the Zagreus theme song, Jason. That was really fun. I'm glad it got recorded, because I am gonna like try to figure out how to get a snippet of that, for like a ringtone or something. Uh, Steve Knudsen continues to be the worst. He is he's a disaster. I'm surprised that I have more key spent than he does. And Katie is best girl. She is getting things done when we have not investigated several mysteries. I'm so sorry, Katie. We're just so consumed by Zagreus.
Actually, you have one more key marked than Steve. So it's not, you're all like pretty close in that regard, just worth pointing out. I'm just, for playtest purposes, this is really interesting to me. Like Katie has essentially 4 outside of the pure white signal. Steve has 1, 2, 3, 5 outside of the pure white signal, and you have 4 chaotic. So
Mhm.
it's all pretty close. Yeah.
Mhm. Uh, yeah, but those are my immediate stars and wishes. I have to leave for a moment. I will be back.
Okay.
Well, I'll do my stars and wishes. Yeah, I got a huge kick out of the yellow painted ledges and walkways and such. That's just so classically video game. It was really, really fun to see that come into real life. And the idea that even when going down into underneath Deep Lake with the tunnels and having all of the candles and torches, like who was down there lighting these? And it kind of reference back to like this is a video game somehow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I was definitely doing that. I was definitely
yeah,
making like references to adventure
going down
games.
the
Yeah.
stairs, like that,
Yeah.
it's just so wonderfully video game, and it was a really cool tie-in between Deep Lake Lurker and Zagreus, which makes sense because Harvey was a tie-in between the two of those
Mhm.
too. So I also am a really big fan of how everything is pulling together to make things feel really interconnected. It doesn't really feel like these are all separate mysteries. It feels like there is something related, especially with this last clue about the Rodenbeckers having not lost any kids. That's really juicy. Really good idea. I'm really excited about that. I also really love the Zagreus theme song. I was saying in chat when that happened, when Jason was singing that we need to make a Zagreus game when this goes out on crowdfunding eventually, so that could be the theme song for it. We'll get a recording and everything. We'll get some music in the background. It'll be great.
The crowdfunding of public access, we're gonna do so much cool shit.
It's gonna be
Like
so
we have
weird.
so much space to do like fun, like kind of analog horror style Kickstarter video or backer kit video. Like I think it's gonna be all really, really fun.
Just like make a Skinamarink video. Oh, speaking of Skinamarink,
I was 100% doing Skinamarink in
yeah,
your
it was
scene.
Skinamarink.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I was totally doing Skinamarink.
which
Yeah.
I was like, this is Skinamarink. This is great. Um, so big fan of that. Steve's vulnerable scenes always hilarious because he will not be vulnerable unless you really push him into it, which is kind of what happened between him and Katie, which he's still riding that high, so I feel like you know
It's
did good, I guess. I really like Steve's bad decisions. They're just so fun and they're very in character. Like it makes sense that he would make these terrible decisions and think they're good. um at least, I mean, Katie knew going down to the into Deep Lake was a bad idea, but she justified it. Steve just doesn't even recognize that his ideas are bad. It's so funny. He needs Michael to tell him that they're bad. Uh, I really liked all of Michael's interactions at the arcade, and explaining to Steve why he likes the video games. I don't know. It felt really like, I know it's a vulnerable scene, but it really gave us a good glimpse at Michael outside of Deep Lake and mysteries, you know. And I really liked that moment. Gosh, there was another one with big old stars that I really liked. I can't remember. I didn't write it down.
Possibly the scenes of the key that got marked, the key of the
Yes.
palace.
Yeah,
Those
those
scenes.
were great.
Jason, that sort of complication of like me having to narrate immediately after that
Delicious.
miss was delicious. I love that a lot. I really, really like Steve Knutson's being sort of like not a modern dream, but like a very old dream that he had, and it was just very interesting and it was very creepy. Honestly, I was so tempted to just mark the chromatic desert after narrating that scene. Uh, it was real close, but I was like, damn, do I want Michael to get forgotten about? And the answer was no, I don't.
That's why I was so tempted to let both times that I could have left the game, or Katie would have left the game. They were both very, very tempting, Jason. I was so tempted to do it, except I want to find out what happened to Katie's siblings. So I know they got snatched by Deep Lake somehow. That's all I really know. I haven't really thought of a backstory or anything. I'm waiting to find out too. Um, but if I didn't have that, I probably would have done it. So yeah.
I love it.
Suppose that's my wish, to find out what happened to my siblings. I wish for a vulnerable scene with Katie and Michael, and I'm excited for, now that I have the Wandering Monolith marked, I'm excited for Katie to meet the big man, because she hasn't really,
You have
aside
not.
from
That's
that
right. Yeah, yeah.
the
You
one
have not.
time where
Yeah.
he distracted Harvey so I could steal the tape.
Oh, that's right.
the
Yeah,
car.
you did. Yeah.
But that's the only time I've seen him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I sort of another wish because of our conversation in the arcade of like, yeah, you should take what you want, sort of from Steve. I think I think Michael's gonna make a phone call to his, I think, ex at this point. So like this is just terrible decision. So like there's gonna be a conversation about that in the future, I imagine.
I
Oh
love
God.
it. Well, we're at time, so I don't think I have anything else. So this was a really great session, and I'm actually really, really happy with Skinny Jeans edition so far.
Mhm.
I At the pace we're going, this feels like the whole campaign will be wrapped up in probably 10 sessions
Mhm.
at the most. And that's about where I think it should live. And so I'm really happy with that. And we're getting into I'm really excited because we're getting into like the really like critical moments of the playtest where we get to see just exactly how the Odyssey Clue economy is going to work in this instance and how that's going to,
Mhm.
how it's going to shake out. So very excited to see that. And I'm really
Oh,
happy
quick
with it.
before we go, the Odyssey clue, the Odyssey mystery. What's the complexity? I know we said it
Six.
before.
6.
Six.
Six.
Okay, perfect. I just didn't remember. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. I'll see you, everybody.
Mhm.